Let's you do the intro this time.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Friendly Jimmy's podcast experience. The year is 1981, and I think we're in June. Welcome for being... 2022. 2022. Welcome. I don't know.
That's a good summary for anybody who's ever tuned in, by the way. This man does think it's the 80s and thinks everything is like June, even Antarctica.
I don't know.
It's a desert.
I was being silly. It's 2022, I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure it's June. I don't know what date it is. You're not getting that. But welcome to the Friendly Jordies podcast / Twitch. This is the precursor to our special club, which is our Patreon, which you... for the price of a caramello koala. I mean, these days a caramello koala is bloody more than that. It's double the price, half the price of a caramello koala. You can join us there. We're very good friends. We're best friends there. La. Tell us. We'll tell you secrets there because we're the best friends. But here, this is like TV, Twitch. It says Twitch starts with T. That's like TV.
Okay.
So welcome.
Now keep the intro going. Keep the intro going
It's
for the
been
rest
10
of
minutes.
Not long enough. The rest
You
of the
shouldn't have
broadcast,
asked
just an
me.
intro.
You should not have asked me to do the intro.
All right, look, we'll do the first segment, which is...
Welcome is what I'm trying to say.
Which
Hi.
might be a bit mundane, but it's kind of important.
Okay.
The gas prices.
Nothing mundane about that. Nothing.
Miss, it's like the
I'll
gas...
put my gas sunnies on for that.
Gas prices are like that iceberg in the ocean where, like, you see it's a little issue,
That's
but underneath...
horrifying. That's scarier than
It's...
me.
Dude, I got into this. Like, when I saw it, and I realized how much we are being screwed over.
Is it the Labor government's fault?
It's not
Absolutely.
the Labor government's fault.
Hey, let the man speak. He said absolutely.
Firstly, it's a cartel's fault.
It's Russia's fault.
So basically, one of the aspects of like
I look like a roadie for the Doors circa 1962. But go on.
you said it was 82.
I'm just saying how I look. But go on.
So Jordan, like the gas prices are gonna go through the roof because
So why?
well, so look, the small
Stop skirting around the
small
answer.
answer is because of initially the Ukraine war.
You're really dodging this one.
No, but like I'm gonna get to
Dude,
it.
please, okay, just go past the grey-suited energy auditor that is on every Channel 9 and ABC broadcaster just being like, multifaceted issues such as firming of the power grid and, of course, Ukraine and Russia isn't helping. Let's
You
just
can go
past
into that.
one.
This
is so lame.
You can go into that,
This
but
isn't a multifaceted issue.
All right,
There's
all right,
literally one villain over
Okay,
here.
let's hear it,
But
let's
I want
hear
to
it.
give a background
Elbow.
of the multifaceted issue. So on the surface, because of the Ukraine war and the disruption of gas supply, the price of natural gas has skyrocketed, right?
right.
And so literally...
Globalist world, man, I'm telling you.
And our entire economy is really globalist in that way, where we pay most of the stuff that we pay for is based on the international price as opposed to the price that it could be available for because it's domestically produced. But there was like this issue is becoming sort of prominent because of the gas prices going up. But even until last year, do you know it was cheaper to buy Australian gas from overseas.
Yep.
So if you bought on the East Coast, and I'll tell you why specifically on the East Coast. On the East Coast, the gas that is being produced here from Queensland was more expensive to source than the same gas that was shipped off to Asia and we brought it over there and brought it back.
It's a topsy-turvy world.
It's
fucking
so
ridiculous.
The way it happened is that Australian East Coast gas reserves, the mining companies that were exploring these, and by the way, there's not many. There's literally like 2 or 3. It's a freaking cartel.
Rio Tinto, BHP.
No, it's got, so on the East Coast, it's Energy Australia.
Red.
It's
one called Red.
This other one called
There is
Santo, right?
Yeah,
Santos.
Yeah.
Santos. And
Red.
then there's one more. They collectively own most of the reserves. So what they've done is, when they were exploring, they contracted for like 5 years to 10 years, these massive long-term contracts with China, Japan, mostly China, but China, Japan, and Korea, where they was said that they're going to guarantee supply. And so then they started shipping off the gas. And when we were facing a energy insecurity, they said, oh, sorry, all your gas is already being sold to the Chinese and Japanese, so you're going to actually have to give us more than what we are giving it to them for.
Yep.
Which is ridiculous because it is literally being sourced from our areas. Now,
Nationalize it.
This is what tells you the good management versus bad management. Same thing in Western Australia. The Labor government at the time, I can't remember the premier's name, but he's a champion.
Bill Short.
What he did was...
Probably.
No, it's McGowan.
No.
This
The
was
one
like in
before that.
2006.
All right, Bill Short.
He was energy companies tried to pull off the same thing, but what he said was that you need to reserve 15% of the entire gas supply for the domestic market.
Okay.
And when he said that, I can't remember which energy company. Well, I think it was Exxon, and they were like, "This is ridiculous. This is not going to work. The project doesn't become is not feasible for us anymore. You can't reserve 15% of the gas supply for the domestic market." By the way, if it's not 15% that every time is going to be 15%. It's whatever the requirement of domestic market is, up to 15%. And the premier, WA premier, basically called their bluff and said, "Okay, fine. Well, then thanks for coming, but sorry, no thanks. Then we can't do the deal."
Yeah.
Another lenient executive calls and is like, we've done the number crunching again, and actually is becoming feasible again. So, yeah, we'll agree to that. Which is why Western Australia gas prices are freaking low, because they actually did it the right way. Whereas we were basically, we were screwed over by these companies that said that when Eastern Australia or the East Coast was proposing this, they would said that they would walk away from the deal and they wouldn't do any exploration, to which our leaders got freaked out and they were like, okay, fine. So they gave them the contracts, these long-term contracts that were exporting to Asia, and we didn't reserve our own gas supply, which is why our prices are exorbitantly high.
Shit.
We are, in fact, not only that, we are becoming one of the largest producers of gas, and until last year, we were making more LNG gas terminals to import gas.
And actually, we're the gas capital of the world now. I think we export more than Qatar.
Yes, we overtook Qatar, I think, in 2019.
Can Labour
So can you
change
imagine Qatar importing gas?
Yeah, I know, it's so insane.
It's
isn't
so
it?
ridiculous.
And also on top of this one makes you weep. Qatar gets about $25 billion a year in gas royalties. You know how much Australia gets for exporting more gas than Qatar? $1 billion.
Which is actually decreasing.
What? Wait a sec. Who
Let
made
alone
the
inflation rate, that
fault?
amount
So
is
wait,
decreasing.
it's not the company's
Now,
fault.
it's not, it's
not,
just
absolutely
Qatar.
not.
It's
No.
not. It's not. No, but it's not the company's fault.
It is.
No, because the companies are seeing an opportunity to rot a country.
The
They're rotting.
companies
Yeah,
are
but they
evil,
lobbied,
the
they
politicians
lobbied
are
the Liberals
incompetent.
to allow this to happen.
Yeah, but it's the Liberals
just said, like, okay, we just want to export all the gas in Australia, and the Liberals said, yep. And they said, no minimum requirement of reserving gas like they do in WA. You can just do whatever you like with that. And then they've just been lying for 10 years now about gas prices and saying that they're keeping energy costs low. I don't know how they even say it. They just say it, right?
No, they were keeping energy costs low because the gas price was already low.
No, but our gas price quadrupled. And as you were saying,
No,
this is
it
not a
has
new problem.
recently,
Like in
but-
Japan, you can buy Australian gas for, I think it was like 3/4 of the price of gas here. So it's more
Well, the
expensive
gas prices
here.
are fluctuating, but now it's literally, there were threats that it would go to about $800 per gigajoule or something, which is a ridiculous price because the base up until like a few years ago was $6. So do you realize the difference? Now,
It's the Liberals' fault too, though.
just to like put this point across, currently at this point, Australian gas reserves are 43 times the population of Australia. So we could consume 43 times of what we're consuming right now, and we would still be gas efficient. So this is ridiculous. Any country that is like oil rich, gas rich, secures it for its domestic population. We, for some reason,
It's
haven't
the
done
only
that.
country on earth that does that.
Can Labor reverse it?
So now Labor, and there's a few problems. So Labor has two options now. So Albo, unfortunately for him, he's become the prime minister at a time when this problem is getting bigger. Now this is a big problem. No, it's not just because our gas bill is going to go higher. That's not the main problem. There's so many businesses that depend on gas for production of their stuff, like plastics. There's a billion things that are made because of the gas supply.
Well, no big loss there.
Food.
No, there's like a
Need
million stuff, Jordan. It's not just plastic. It's like
Food.
a whole fertilizers, food. There's a whole host of stuff. Because the price is it's getting higher and higher. They're actually shutting down, or they will shut down. They're already. I was watching this one. I think one guy who said that they've already laid off 15% of their workforce because of this, because they're dependent on gas too much.
Is there not a way to rectify it though now?
So now Albo has basically two options, and one option which is redundant. So you can't mess with the existing contracts that are already there, which is it's just you're gonna go into like millions of lawsuits. So we're not like Nasser of Egypt that we can do that sort of shit. So that leaves that option out. Now 2/3 of the gas current supply from the East Coast is already these
Shipped
other
off.
countries that we can't really do much about. 1/3 is short-term contracts, so we can do things over there, but that's not sufficient. So basically, there's two options that Albo has now, and he has to choose one of them. One is that he does the WA model. So any further gas, there's a reserve that that the East Coast would have before. So prioritize domestic gas supply.
But they can't do that immediately.
They cannot do that immediately. It'll kick in after. The second option is, which England actually did under UK Labour's pressure, the Tories had to do this, which is that they put a tax levy of 25% on gas exporters. Because these guys, by the way, are making a killing now. Because the gas prices have gone so much. So not only are we being starved, but the people that put us through this are making billions of extra dollars because of this.
But here's the problem, right? A fresh Labor government. Do you really want to start a war with the gas giants after what happened when they started a war with the mining
I think they
giants?
might have to, because if businesses are closing down, then this system is not working. I'll give Malcolm
Jesus.
Turnbull a bit of a credit, because in 2017 he came up with this emergency policy where that if the gas prices go beyond a certain level, then he passed legislation where automatically some part of it is going to be reserved for domestic supply. But that is not as a status quo measure. That is for like extreme emergencies. And when that extreme emergency is over, then it shifts back to normal.
Yeah, and it also
Which, by the
takes
way, has
like
already kicked in. So we're in
No,
emergency zone.
Like, it takes 6 months for that to kick in. That's the piece of
But I'm
legislation
just saying that
they didn't
it
put
could have
in.
been even worse. But that's still not sufficient enough.
It's nowhere near sufficient
Yeah,
enough. Like,
that's
that is not going to reduce energy prices at minimum for
I
another
think
half a
Jordan,
year.
the long-term strategy is that you reserve a certain amount of supply for domestic consumption. We are a small country in terms of population. It's not a huge number. Like
Having said that, though, I honestly think that is a major reason why Labor lost power in WA. These are the powers that dictate government policy.
but they're eating the
they're
Australian economy.
Yeah, they're eating the Australian economy, obviously, as is the mining company, as is the housing industry, right? But like, if I was in Labor's shoes, I wouldn't be able to touch it. I think it's one of those like Pandora's boxes that once it's open, what are you going to do?
Yeah, but the
about
good thing is the crisis is so bad, Jordan, that they have to do something about it.
it? That's true.
They
Might actually have the
even if
opportunity, and maybe if they can get the message out in the press, and actually, this is something that I've noticed as well. All of the cuck press, like ABC and Nine, are giving Labor fairly fair coverage, and it's because there's a new government in power and they don't know how the new regime is going to work, like how they're going to get their feeds and how they're going to get their exclusives. So I think that they're cozying up to them at the moment, but they'd have to act fast.
Yeah, but
Cozy
and the other let's not also absolve. Look, in this issue, clearly the major energy company players are responsible. They've blackmailed us every time we've asked for some sort of concession on this. They've threatened to walk away from projects. So there's that, but then there's also the incompetence of the Liberal government in the sense that there was such ambiguity in energy policy that we went from mostly producing coal-powered electricity to our aim was go to renewables, and the median transition, according to Liberals, was fucking gas. Remember? They said that they were concentrating on gas, and they left us with one of the greatest gas crises that this country has ever seen. But keeping in that mind, even though they were saying that we've got the 2050 transition to renewables, they did nothing for it. So now we're in a position where we're moving away from coal. Gas, because of Ukraine and other external factors, is sky high, and we don't have the infrastructure for renewables to do. So we're fucked. If Albo doesn't do anything about gas, you know what happens? We go back to coal, which is going to be difficult because the last year and a half we've been preparing to move away from it.
That's true, but also I don't think that we really have the capacity to go back to coal either, because all of those power plants are too old to function. And I don't think I think the Labor Party might renew their contracts or whatever, but the thing is, those power plants are extremely old, so they can't actually produce the amount of coal needed.
And even if you do switch back to coal, by the time this problem will be fixable, it will be too late. That the effects of the harms of it are going to be so visible. So I think Albo has no other option but to do something about this gas cartel monopoly.
Wait, so
it's a good time to do it. He will never get this option again.
So let me get this straight. We're like pulling out gas. There's barrels of cheap, gas our gas that is like basically being driven past a guy in a truck who's going to work, who's like, I can't afford to go to work. And that gas is like the price of water. And
it's not a truck. Do you know what gas is? Gas is not liquid.
Oh, yeah.
Pipeline.
Yeah, anyways, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Like, whatever. Like, it's being exported. And then he's like, that cheap commodity is being sold overseas. The price is being raised and sold back to us at an inflated price. And now the average person's fucked.
Yep.
Yeah. Badly, too.
Is this Australia or Russia? I mean, honestly.
Cheaper to buy Australian gas in China, which has been waging a trade war against us for the past 3 years. So
it's actually like despicable. It's a joke. It's beyond a joke. That is beyond a joke.
That's Ali's view on it anyway. Sky News' view is that this is all because we started going into this namby-pamby renewable stuff, and if we just kept the coal plants open, we wouldn't be in this mess in the first place.
These guys are such idiots. Like, they brought us over here, and they're still talking about the same shit. Move on, dickheads.
I know, it's so like you boring.
Said, even if you wanted to go back to coal plants, you can't because you haven't done the work for it. Like you said, they have to be renewed and capable of continuing to produce that output, which they haven't.
And
so it'll take us years to get them ready.
And of course, the other one is, and this is why we need to switch to nuclear power, because you can build a nuclear power plant that sometimes takes up to 20 years to build and then flick it on, and that will help reduce prices next financial quarter. That's their two big views. And it's just like, nuclear heads, that's who you're agreeing with. Peter Credlin in the bowling ball, right? It's just like, it's Ali said it perfectly, which is that the Liberals in the last election cycle, it really was the last one that they really solidified this. As Scott Morrison was saying at the time, the government now will project what the country's energy policy will be for about a generation. And he decided to put it all into gas and allow them to open up even more gas fields and then allow them to export all of that gas.
But they haven't even done that, Jordan. If they actually did that, we would actually have a decent amount of supply of gas. So they just talked about it. All they did was...
And approved the mines.
Kept the coal voters voting for them. That's all they cared about. They said that we're going to do an intermediary gas-based thing, but they never actually did anything about it.
No, they approved a lot of wells.
They did, but it's too late.
Yeah, obviously.
And obviously, like, this issue has come to the forefront because of the Ukraine crisis, which I suppose they couldn't predict, but still, it's still bad management nonetheless. They really screwed us over. And the
And
irony
this was
is
a
that it's
10-year plan in the making.
What the
like the worst thing is all of this seems. There's another problem where like gas companies say, "Oh, if you give subsidies to your domestic population, you're going to screw over the economy." Now that stuff that is true. However, if you're an importer, if you live in a country that doesn't have gas and you're buying expensive gas and subsidizing it, it's going to screw up your deficit. But if you live in a country that is abundant with gas and is exporting it, the subsidy does nothing except that makes your local population reap some of the benefits that God has given them.
In opposition, when Labor was in opposition, was their policy to like nationalize gas more or less?
Well, no, not for a long time. That has.
Why
I
is
mean,
that?
in the 70s it might have been.
Yeah, why is that such a radical idea? Like, here's an easy way out.
It's
Kinda.
not
all
a
of these
radical idea.
fucking
It's just that they
companies
they
that
have so much
screwing us
lobbying
over.
power
Right.
in Canberra that they've just made it politically impossible. And so that's where we're at now.
Even, let alone, you're talking about nationalization. That's something that's
That is
would
off
be
the table.
Off the table.
Right.
That's not
But
happening.
even with like a small subsidy to compensate. Now, at the same time,
Like
they're
Perth.
making a lot more money. Yeah, not like Perth. Not even reserving an amount of gas for domestic power. I'm talking about like just taxing them a bit more.
Right.
People that are making killing
Yeah.
over the price being quadrupled and whatever.
Yeah.
They are saying that if you do that, we're going to walk away. They keep threatening us.
But if they walk away, doesn't that mean it's like they leave and it's like, oh
No, they
no,
say-
now we're stuck with all this cheap gas. What do we do? Yeah, put it in the ocean.
They say that we're not...
True, actually. Maybe we should just let them walk away.
Walk away.
No, well, I
End
mean,
the contract.
Walk away doesn't mean for the existing contracts. Walk away means that they say that we're going to stop exploring more gas. And let's not forget,
But
by
that's
the way,
fine. You don't need to explore
all of these
anymore.
companies don't pay taxes to us. They're global mega giant companies.
Can't we just get,
that are
like-
headquartered often in the US.
Can't we just get like Dick Smith to get some gas? Dick Smith Gas Company.
Well, the only gas that's coming from him is through his arsehole.
No, but seriously, get some like small. Everyone's talking about small business. Why don't we get an Australian-owned business to start? It's to start taking gas out.
Man, I think you need a little more to explore a gas field than a $100,000 personal loan at Commonwealth Bank.
Can't be that much more.
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe it's $101,000. Just let's start a Kickstarter.
There has to be a better way.
Well, look,
Well, there is, but it's just like they've really checkmated us.
Really?
They really have. I think the other thing is,
So we're just
that
like a shitty
Taylor,
South American
who is now
country
the
now.
treasurer, is saying here's his alternative. Is saying, how about this? Have we thought about this? How about we give whatever the gas companies they want? Maybe that'll solve it.
yeah.
That's what he's been saying. Like his solution to this field is to just allow gas companies to have even more of a monopoly over our gas.
The
Which is
Labor
the
dude.
problem in the first place. Not only is it gonna-
Angus Taylor's the
The shadow.
man. There's a lot that I could say about him, but can't.
Wait, is he a liberal or what?
yeah, liberal.
Ah, Jesus, that
Pretty
is
ridiculous.
So, and the result of that is what?
Infuriating.
Rising petrol prices, rising what? Everything rises. What's the
Everything
result?
rising,
Like what?
including the
Well,
stuff.
name it. What's rises?
Well, no, this is related to gas. So
Yeah, but
gas
what?
price rising.
Yeah, but what is that?
But that has a
effectively-
flow-on effect on everything.
So food
So
prices
inflation. Yeah,
everyday
everyday items become more expensive
Right.
because of this,
as well as petrol.
as well as petrol. But petrol is already going. We don't have a lot of petrol. We have some, so that's going to be something that we're going to have to face anyways, because a lot of our petrol crude oil comes from overseas. But things like gas, we have plenty of. It shouldn't really affect us.
That's fucked up.
And-
It's so dumb because it's like it's like, you know, it's literally just getting fucked in the ass. It's like there's enough problems. Like if you have good policy, you're still gonna have enough problems. You're gonna have a fuckload of problems with good policy. Why make it so much harder for yourself?
We live
Why?
in such an internationalized world.
Yeah, but the
where-
contracts were shit. The
The
government.
contracts were shit, but like it also comes from just the idea that, you know, everything is based on the price that is being traded in the world as opposed to just us.
But what would have
We
stopped?
produce like
In
fruits
theory-
and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables is another example. We produce so much of it and we export it to so many countries, but in Australia, it's freaking expensive to buy fruits and vegetables because it's not just based on the quantity. Like usually in a traditional sort of market system where you have, let's say, mangoes, and you produce a fuckload of mangoes during mango season, the price of it would drop because there's so much supply and less demand. But because our supply is booked internationally, that no matter how much of a bumper season we get, our prices are going to stay freaking high.
I've always said globalization's fucked.
And the opposition would argue that because of that system or highly liberal economy that we live in, we've made a lot of money because of it. But I would argue we haven't made money. A select handful of freaking corporations have made a lot of money that don't even pay taxes to us.
It's insane. It's insane.
It's bloody ridiculous.
And now I know what's going to happen. The whole media's nexus is going to blame Labor, and then they'll just get out.
Well, I just got to say, not at the moment.
Yeah, not at the moment.
Not at the moment. In fact, you know what? Shout out. The project actually did albeit extremely dumbed down version of Ali's and skirted around the issue that they don't pay any royalties and that they are exporting all of our gas. But other than that, they were actually pointing out WA has that 15% cap. Obviously didn't give Labor any credit to it, but they were at least pointing out that you should have some cap.
Yeah.
Something. And I'll give them credit for that.
Yeah.
And I think politicians like the WA Premier, all politicians in Australia need to have freaking balls. Need to not be intimidated by these executives all the time.
Yeah, but it's hard not to be intimidated by them. They've got such expensive suits.
Nah, fuck him.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck them, but at the same time... No.
Bullshit. If anyone can do it, Albo can.
Because, okay, let's...
Why not?
If there's one Labor politician that can't, it's Albo.
Why?
Because he's trying to be the John Howard of the Labor Party. He's trying to stick in there for 10 years. He's playing the long game.
Yeah, but like...
and you know what? We know that for these gas companies, Australia is way more valuable than all of these other countries. Not because our gas reserves are bigger or our gas is better somehow.
Our infrastructure's mad.
Our infrastructure is mad. We're a stable country. You go try sourcing gas from Afghanistan, bitch. Like, let's see how you do that.
Yeah.
Or even
well,
like,
just walk away.
Yeah, or
Where
like
you gonna
go
go?
try sourcing gas from Kazakhstan, which was already freaking unstable and now has a neighbor that's waging a war on West Europe. So we are still going to be such a good destination. So these company executives would come back to us.
That's
if we
what,
just
that's
had
what I'm
the
saying.
balls.
They should cut the contracts. Just say then walk away. They should do that.
Can't,
Why?
Then that creates legal issues because we have legally.
So how long's the contract for? The end of time? How long are these contracts?
Like they're usually 5-10 years, and they're ridiculous. Like,
That's a long fucking contract.
do you know? Okay, I'll give you an example. When
Jesus.
my brother, like in maybe 2013, 2014, somewhere around that, was contacted by one of his friends in Pakistan who wanted to import coal, and he said, "If you can get me coal from Australia, you can get a cut and all of that stuff." So he finds out like what the goal about getting coal is. You know what was the answer that was given to him? All of coal in Australia has been booked by the Chinese for the next 4 years. So come back to us 4 years later. That's how these contracts are.
Right.
And so if you now break these contracts, some international arbitration court is going to issue a massive fine on Australia.
Dude, you should do another video now. Being like, I know Labor's in. I don't give a fuck. I'm still spilling the dirt on why the Libs were so bad in their policy, and talk about this, because then it'll just
I am. I was writing that today.
about gas and shit.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, okay.
You keep on that.
Thank you.
Because seriously, like, people, one of the advantages of being being booted out of government is that with you leaving, all your secrets leave. You know, it's like, well, no one's going to know the ramifications of these things. And it's like, not so fast, you little fuckers. You're not getting away that easy. We are going to, like, tar and feather you and, like, and like, you know, verbatim write out why we are fucked now.
As Michael West was saying, it's insane to suggest that the Labor Party can be blamed for any economic decision even if you're being extremely unlenient to them for at least the next year, you're talking about 10 years of economic policy that you have to unravel. Really, to unravel it, you need another 10 years. And so, yeah, there's no easy fix to that.
It's just like, surely there were some people in the Liberal Party that were like, this is a bad idea.
They weren't strong enough.
Don't think there was. I really don't.
Even if they were, like, they clearly weren't like strong enough or that many in numbers to actually have some.
But surely
profound effect on policy.
the economy, they're fucking like, I don't know, whoever does the economist just looked at that and were like, this is bad accounting. This is just like not.
Dude, the
why they
economists
got
are
Josh Biden
consultants
as
that are suggested by the mining companies that they're negotiating with.
How can they be
I
so?
feel
How
like
can they
I'm
not
like
be
Alex
impartial?
Jones, but they're all bought and sold.
But how can they not be even a little bit impartial and a little bit sort of objective?
Because
And
they
welcome
believe
to
the
Canberra.
fallacy.
It's again, the point is that the entire nexus of Canberra, all the bureaucrats are, as he said, just a bunch of consultants.
But this
Like,
isn't
it's
America.
right
This
thing.
isn't
Yeah,
America.
It is.
It's not.
Dude, they retire
It's
and
not
then they
that
become
bad.
directors of these companies.
Yeah, but I always thought I never thought Australia was as bad as America in that regard.
No, we're
man,
worse than
we're
America.
Much worse. Much worse.
How are we
America,
worse?
and you have to give America credit where credit is due. America was extremely energy
Independent.
No, they were dependent on Middle Eastern oil.
Right.
Right? Slowly over the last decade, America has become energy sufficient. And you know what that reflects on? Everyday Americans' electricity bills. You ask an American today, how much do you pay for electricity? Do you know what they say? It's freaking negligible.
Yeah.
Like, we just keep the aircon on because the gas prices and electricity prices are so freaking low.
Yeah. So we're worse.
We're worse.
That's fucked. That's just like, surely it wasn't always like this in Australia.
No, it was a deliberate decision from the 70s, from successive Liberal governments, to make
fuck
our
us.
economy geared around minerals and
But that's
resources.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's more.
No, there is something extremely wrong with that. It's
Not
just
if you- not if
it's
you-
like the basic point of
Well,
diversifying your shares portfolio. Right?
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that if you do it in an intelligent way, where you tax at an adequate level and the money is staying here.
That is why Gough Whitlam was cooed on exactly that point, because he was trying to nationalise our resources. And then the Liberals came in and said, all right, yeah, we're corporate puppets. We'll just allow the corporations to do whatever they want to our resources. And that has had ricocheting effects for the last decade, to the point now where they're so powerful that have just infiltrated Canberra so much that you just stuck. You can't get out of that.
It also,
That's-
there is one more
very
point.
sad.
If you ask the mining companies, they have a different view on it. What they'll say is that there's actually a shortage of gas supply in Australia. So there was a Queensland coal seam gas project from like early 2000s where these mining companies overestimated the amount of gas that they could take out of it, and they based all their contracts with overseas stakeholders like these countries like China, Japan, and whatever, and they overpromised them gas, and they signed contracts, which government of Australia guaranteed. So, which the gas that wasn't there. So what
Right.
they end up doing is they start pulling gas from the domestic supply to compensate for that, which is why our gas prices have just been going up for the last decade, by the way, for that reason. That they overpromised gas and they started stretching and they started taking domestic supply and shipping it out.
Yeah.
So the
Bad
the-
contracts. It's just bad
No,
contracts.
Idiot mining companies that have too much power.
Yeah, but the politicians signed it.
The politicians don't know how much gas there is. They're gonna obviously, if freaking Exxon tells them that there's
But
this
it
amount
takes.
of gas,
I'm
they'll
just
be
saying
like,
it
yeah,
takes
okay.
two to tango. It takes two to tango.
It's just like there's so much lobbying that it is very convenient for politicians to just believe anything that these companies say.
Right.
It's just that like
And the revolving doors thing that Ali's talking about. That
What?
they just get a job on one of these boards as soon as they retire.
You're supposed
they
to
just do
represent the
what they're supposed to
people, not the fucking companies.
Finally, friendly Jordies and Sky News are in agreement.
Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Seriously, what the fuck? I'm the last angry man. This is fucking bullshit. It's so annoying. I didn't know that. I thought Canberra was like, I thought. I mean, it makes sense, but I thought that there wasn't that infiltration at that level. I thought there would be like, there was limits and levels at which people would go, no, we're not going to completely fuck ourselves by signing over this amount for this amount of years. That's insane. You'd think that would happen, right?
Yeah, but that's how they make the big money. Those 10-year contracts, those 5-year contracts are very lucrative, miss.
You got to say, though, I mean, if a WA Premier was able to do that, Premier, not a Prime Minister, if he was able to do it, and I'm going to have to look into this, I reckon it would have been a really big reason as to why he was voted out. But, I mean, as we've always said, West Australia should rename itself Double Australia. It is more Australian than the rest of Australia.
I agree. And it's so small. Like Perth, anyway, I mean.
Yep, WA's not.
No,
yep, Perth is tiny.
Perth.
And like as we saw, right, you go there and there's just 5 towers that everyone goes to like it's school and your little bell, and everyone in Perth migrates into these terrifying towers that all have BHP at the top of them.
Yeah.
In that environment, he was able to say, no, we're putting a cap on.
Yeah, but Jordan, actually, you would appreciate this point. It's not WA, it's WA Labour. If you remember WA Liberals in the mining boom of 2012 and 2013, basically forgot to tax the mining companies, where by 2015, when the boom was over, they were in crippling debt. And there was a lot of issues. It was not until the current Labour government came in and fixed it that now they're back to a surplus state.
Out of a mining boom.
So you're right. I hate, but the Western Australia Liberals also sucked at it.
Oh, massively. And actually, you know what? Credit to the WA Nationals. Even they were saying during the time of whatever his name was, Shark Killer, Colin Barnett, they were saying even back then, can we just have some royalties on mining? And then Colin Barnett was like, let's just kill some more sharks. And then the Nationals were like, yeah, that's crazy talk. Yeah, let's just kill more.
Wait, the Nationals were agreeing with Labor?
Yeah.
Fuck.
For a brief stint.
Fuck.
Even the Nationals. A company, a party that purely exists to service gas and mining.
So is Albo not going to do anything? He's just going to transfer around the world to like Indonesia, being like, we have strong ties.
He's already done a lot.
He'll do something, but whatever he does ain't going to affect anything in the short term.
Yeah, I know that, but like...
in terms of gas, he's done nothing. They just had their first cabinet meeting like a couple of days ago. So
no excuses. No excuses.
Job starts day one.
Yeah, no slack given. What else?
But it did start day one. Like he just won the election and then immediately went and signed contracts with the Quad.
Yeah. No, that's true. But like, what else has he done?
What has he done for me lately?
I'm serious.
He was in Indonesia.
I know he's been traveling, and I understand it's important, but like... The big issues. Don't forget the big issues.
Yeah, while the rest of us are paying for extra power, he's jet setting around.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, if you're saying he's going to be a caretaker prime minister, or just going to try to just chill out for 10 years. Well, I'm
just saying, look, I'm in two minds about it. I understand Ali's point, and it's obviously the right thing to do, but also the right thing to do would be to stay in power for 10 years. That definitely has its benefits over the long trajectory of it. I'm a big fan of that Obama method of just steady as she goes.
Yeah, I get that.
Changing the ship's direction instead of just trying to pull a U-turn and capsizing the ship.
Fair, but like, these contracts.
Also, speaking of that, I do want to say I am. I feel like I'm becoming Jordan, where like the Labor bad, Labor good. But how much better is Labor foreign policy compared to Liberal? Because like the Liberals, their foreign policy was super geostrategic. It was like. The Quad, for example, like we do an alliance with America, UK, Japan, and we control the world together, and forgetting what's happening in their region. Whereas, like you look at Albo's,
he's gone to like Japan and
he's
Indonesia.
safeguarding the freaking region, the stuff that matters to us.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why he's in Indonesia.
Yeah. No, I think it's good. I think it's smart.
And there's a reason why Penny Wong's first visit is to freaking Fiji. Now, Fiji, Let's be real, irrelevant country, but to us it matters
Yeah.
because it's in our region. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so instead of like jetting off to Washington D.C., she decides to go to Burkina Faso, whatever the fuck the capital is. I can't remember what it is.
Nando's?
Probably not Burkina Faso, but it's way more like I don't know. I approve is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, seconded. Finally, you see the light. Penny Wong is a better foreign affairs minister than I can't even remember the last one.
Oh,
A
God.
penny for your thoughts.
There you go.
That's her 1 cent.
It's, I'm not going to be able to sleep over this gash thing, though. Fuck.
Anyway, let's just talk about the real issues.
Yes,
You saw Top Gun Maverick.
I did.
There's the issues. Yeah.
After Miss Love's
Raving
review last week, it was just
Sold
like
me.
Penny Wong went to Fiji. I went to Event Cinemas
Immediately.
immediately.
You got on that.
For his state obligation.
Yes, yes.
Foreign Affairs
And
Minister of this show.
May I say, sir, thank you
You're
for
welcome.
this opportunity.
Yes.
It was.
You're welcome.
First of all, I am like obvious. Like it's a weird thing, but like everyone as a kid, like Jordan said.
Can we just not show me yawning?
Yeah, I don't know why it was on you. It was on him. You put it on him.
Sorry.
That wasn't.
No action here.
Yeah, I don't. That was a mistake.
I'm laying back.
I'm kind of glad.
I'm on that bicycle built for two, and I'm sitting at the front, and I'm taking my feet off the pedals. Thank you.
Yeah, and my review is I think pretty much exactly the same as yours, Miss.
Yeah.
It was
Best
a
and
7 on 10 film,
Yeah.
but a 10 on 10 movie.
Yes.
So good.
10 for both.
I knew you'd say
Perfect
that.
20.
I knew you'd say
Why
that.
would you give it a 7 out of 10 for film? Give me that first.
I can answer
Because
That's
that.
the bad news.
Cheesy dialogue.
Yeah, it's too easy. Like the they're hitting the audience, the emotional pulses of the audience, like really well. But it's also like a cheat way of doing it.
It's also
which is-
one-on-one generic storytelling,
Yeah.
dude. Why? Because it's just guy gets the girl. Girl's
Guy.
angry with him. Wins the thing at the end. He might have lost. No, he won it. And he got the girl in the end. Never
Fighter
been told
jets.
before. The story that had to be told.
fighter jets, retro motorcycles, and retro cars. Now, do you hate it? No, sir. I love it.
I loved it,
You realize you
but-
watched a film starring Tom Cruise.
No,
And
I loved
MILFs.
it. I loved it. I loved it. I'm
Everything
just
about that
saying,
movie
it's
was
not gonna.
amazing.
It's for what it is. 10 out of 10.
And Ali, you'll appreciate this point. How much hotter were stars in the 90s? Now we're down to the next one taking over the reins, whoever that guy is that was in Fantastic Four that failed, that has really rough skin, rougher than mine at the moment.
Miles Teller.
Miles Teller.
He's good. He's
Also,
good.
what about
He's
you,
good. I
Skip?
like him. He's interesting.
I
but
like him.
He's no Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is hotter than he is as a grandfather, and so is the love interest. Way hotter than the female pilot. Way hotter.
Yeah.
And she's got wrinkles.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It was
she's
just,
a
it's amazing how much more attractive people were in the 90s. And just all of a sudden, I don't know how the world got so much uglier. What happened?
Probably stuff in the KFC, antibiotics and shit.
That would explain Miles Teller's face. Really. he does look like a beef patty.
Miss,
Yeah.
but after watching the movie, I actually saw some of the footage of the old Top Gun.
Yeah, you got to say it. It's mad.
So much, like it's way shitter.
Yeah, it was 1980.
I know, but like
Five
the
or some
fight
shit.
scenes and the fighter jets, it's
They
like,
weren't in the jets.
It's clearly in a studio.
Yeah.
And it looks.
And it was clearly a plastic plane that they just threw in front of the camera and then
Yeah.
chucked a little firework at it.
Yeah, but you
little
can't
bit, it
blame
seemed
them.
like
You
a-
can't blame
But
them.
dude, the new
I know, I
one is
won't.
so much like it looks so
Yeah.
real.
The technology is insane. They put 6 IMAX quality cameras in the cockpit of a real fighter jet.
and they're actually and you
Can't
can
be
tell,
safe.
like
Can't
they're
be safe.
actually flying.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're pulling them.
And
you know-
anything you can't do.
And spoilers, so turn off if you haven't seen it. But you know the last scene where Tom Cruise is flying off into the distance?
Yeah.
He's really flying that plane.
That's his plane.
Yeah.
I found out.
Yeah, it's his.
That's actually his plane.
Yeah, they were just like, we want this plane. It's just like, yeah, let's use my one.
Okay, so that's why the film ended one scene after it should have. I really think it should have finished with him hugging Miles Teller and then just freeze framing and then just starring Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Should have finished there.
I didn't mind
That's
it.
how that film
I mean,
should have ended.
Yeah, I think it was still pretty
Yeah,
cool.
maybe actually Jordan might be right about that.
Look,
Look, you know, anyone that's saying spoiler alert in this film, you know the storyline before you go.
America loses this time.
Yeah, Tom Cruise becomes a pacifist and realizes the wrongs of his past and joins Greenpeace. That's what it's about. And that's why he's a maverick, because it's like, I can't believe you did that, man. Chucking spears at a whaling ship.
I saw Ben Shapiro's review of it. It's so funny. He's like, first of all, I love the fact that this movie is made for Americans. It's a giant fuck you to the rest of the world.
Yep.
And that's how these movies were supposed to be.
Yes.
Now, I know we all know this, but they're referring to China. They don't say it. And that's okay. They thought that this was going to help open Top Gun into the Chinese market, and you know what? It didn't. They still banned it. So now you know.
They banned it?
The massive American flag, it tells you this is an American movie meant for Americans, and you know what? Americans will love it because Tom Cruise is the last movie star.
You know what? You can't fault him
in any way.
He's 100% correct in his movie reviews. He's good at it. He really should just reboot Margaret and David at the movies. Ben Shapiro and Margaret David.
Ben, Margaret, and David. What did you think, Ben? I thought it was absolutely disgusting. This is a very apt portrayal of what SJWs and identity politics has done in film. Well, I, for one, really liked the remake of Sound of Music. I don't know.
Can I also... I would also like to give a tidbit to Ben Shapiro if he's listening. The movie is not about China.
I don't think he's listening.
It can't be about China.
Because the movie, without...
It's
okay,
Russia.
Spoiler
It's
alert,
Russia.
if you haven't seen it, just shut down right now.
It's Russia.
It's not about Russia either. The movie is about a mythical place where Iran is super sophisticated. Because the movie is about destroying these nuclear facilities. Now, both China and Russia have nuclear arsenal, and we all know it, and it's been accepted. So there's no reason to bomb a facility. First of all, how many of them are you going to bomb? They're all over the country, just like the U.S. Yeah. So it's about a country that is trying to go nuclear, but it's also sophisticated where it has those amazing air defense missile system.
You're right.
So Ben Shapiro, the movie is not about China. It's actually about a very sophisticated Iran, which doesn't exist.
Which is also...
Because it's a Tom Cruise movie.
Which is also extreme. I was talking to Jordan about this. This is extremely harsh because this is what the story is. It's like there is a very poor country with almost zero defense capabilities. That's just look. They want to be able to eat corn, so they have started building possible nuclear weapon capabilities in this like snowy desert. They might not be able to even fire, but they got planes. Will you destroy their chance of getting any food to their food bowl? Yes, I will.
Yeah, don't you reckon, Ali? That was it. And somehow the U.S. military is the underdog. But that was like, it's insane. It's insanity. But also, how good, Ali? Don't you think that this was it? It was just like, Tom Cruise, your mission, should you choose to accept it, some country is trying to defend itself from the exact aerial assaults that we're about to embark on this country. And
no
we
attacking
cannot allow
capabilities
this to happen because if we do, we won't be able to bully them in World Trade deals from now on. Can't let that happen.
all of that stuff might be true, but admit it. When you walked out of the cinema,
you were like, I'm so glad Tom Cruise. Yes, I was cheering it on.
It's Tom Cruise, man.
That's the Tom Cruise effect.
I was about to say, fuck Muslims.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you mean?
You know what?
Until I realized I am one.
It was if Iran was closer to what the Soviet Union was, and even then, it still wouldn't have been that. Because I was also saying, like, do you think? And people let me know in the comments, how many jet fighting dogfights have there been in history? I reckon there's been 3, and every single time it has always been Tom Cruise is like some Taliban beard guy fighting in a jet that is 20 years older than the Americans have. And they have 3 jets surrounding him. And it's just like, it's not the plane, it's the pilot, baby.
Yeah, exactly. It's not Tom Cruise struggling in an old Soviet thing, being like, we're going to make it.
And also, the last moment, again, spoiler alert, in the climax scene, when he steals that F-14, What the fuck? So they just leave the F-14 on
Unlocked.
with the ignition.
You know what's crazy?
Take it out.
You know what's
no
crazy,
one
though?
notices a flight's going.
But you
and
know-
by the way, okay, fine. Maybe
But
in
again,
this,
Ali, when he was doing it, you're like, come on.
no,
It
you were.
works.
You
Yes.
were. You were. But I'm just talking about the irrationality of it. Okay, maybe you went there, you got the F-14 to work, you flew it away, but as soon as you did,
You're
they
fucked.
would notice that there's a freaking F-14. Do you know how expensive that shit is for?
Yeah.
Like, so they would know that it's gone, and you're flying over 10 minutes later, and the enemy's 5th generation aircraft comes, and they assume that it's you when they should have been advised that there's an F-14 missing from the airfields?
Yeah.
Stupid.
You know
Well,
what?
nah,
Which
come
is
on, it
why
was
it's-
just aerial strike. I think there's plausibility to that. It was just aerial strike. There's mayhem happening.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean that's just
They just
bombed
destroyed the
entire
aerial
runway. They're
base.
they don't
Oh,
know.
they're so distracted. I tell you what, though, I did watch, because I am a loser, I did watch a little bit of this podcast. It was like, okay, welcome to the Top Gun Fighter Jet Aerial Podcast. This is the podcast about everything Navy fighting jet related. Got 3 experts here. Now, would it be possible to steal that? And the guy was like, believe it or not, yes, you can steal that plane without a key. So that's plausible. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm not saying
Whoa,
that.
they did their homework.
I'm not
I mean,
saying
they
that-
had 30 years to think about this. So
I don't know how
they came up with
But how
some
good is this?
plausible
I got bored of the podcast, so I turned off before he said if it was plausible to take off in that runway time. I was like, this is boring.
I'm not even.
I swear to God.
And the other plausible thing, don't you think this as well? If anyone was able to do that, it would be Tom Cruise.
And lastly,
fly.
lastly, 2 of your people are missing in enemy territory. You find out that Rooster is live on an F-14. You figured out that these guys have the F-14. And somehow, the greatest military might in the world is like, sorry guys, it's too late. You can let them die. I know eventually one guy comes in and saves them, but in a real situation, in that case, they would be scrambling the entire Air Force
Yeah.
to literally pin down all of these jets because American military personnel
100%.
is...
They just
Do you think?
Yeah.
It's the American military. If it was like, I don't know, the Iranian military, maybe they would be like, oh, let's cut the losses over here. Where this, either we get rid of 2 or we get rid of like 10. But when is the American... Dude, they have an aircraft... By the way, the only country to have aircraft carriers in the first place, they have aircraft carriers just on the ocean, a fucking team of Top Gun. They
That
know
would be-
that there's
yeah.
a fight, and then they're outpaced by these 5th generation fighters, and they're like, it is what it is. Well, Tom will figure something out, guys.
Yeah, it's so true. They'd fly 3 of those jet in and level their whole base, and then they could like sit and have lunch in that little base there if they wanted.
It probably they did kind of try to explain it at the beginning, but I really do think it would have been like, okay, well, that extremely high risk strategy of sending in like 8 people on a jet to fly like really close to the ground against all of these anti-missile turrets that's just at the end of a really steep cliff somehow didn't work out. Oh, okay, I guess we'll just send in 400 drones to level the place.
Exactly.
We can take
Exactly.
200 of them getting shot out by missiles. That's fine.
Yes.
You could do it all with drones, I reckon, too.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they did try to say it at the beginning of just being like, but can they fly this well?
Not
and then they just said
today.
like, yeah, not today. But by Wednesday next week, they will be able to. So-
Also, how about like just taking that super high speed, supersonic jet that he flies in the beginning? How about not crashing that and flying that in?
No. Well, you can't. There's that
too
part
far?
was true. There's a reason why they took F-18s. Apparently, their maneuverability is better.
Okay.
Because I've actually researched a bit on these aircrafts, and the American aircrafts are far superior. The Chinese now have a 5th generation one too, but we don't really know which one. But like clearly, the American one is most likely going to be better. But I think for those maneuvers, maybe a 4th generation F-18 is probably better.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, fair
Because
enough.
these other
They
ones...
did their research. What can I say?
You know what is really sad about that movie, and I think that it really hit that on 2 levels, right? It's kind of, yeah, okay, there was nostalgia to it that made the movie great. The nostalgia actually added to it. Usually, I think nostalgia is just a cheap way out where you think, yeah, it's kind of like the original movie. They did make this sequel way better than the original. But I also think that if you like, there was also another nostalgia to it that I felt kind of sad which was, I mean, obviously, our entire lives, we've just been inundated with America's the good guys. And it was kind of like the last hurrah of that, I think. It's just, this is the last little fantasy that they have in their heads, that they still control the world. And I was just like,
But they kind of do. Like, they...
Yeah, but
their military
it's going
is
the
far
other way.
superior.
Yes, but it for only so long. And I think that was
Yes,
kind of the
but
undertone of it. And it's just like, it's
no,
amazing
wait.
that it does tug at your heartstrings a bit. That it's just like, oh, yeah.
To that point, I'll reply with what Tom Cruise said. Maybe so, sir, but not today.
Yeah, and I'm that bald guy just being like, you're a renegade, Maverick. Well, actually, you're more of a Maverick. I guess that makes sense of your nickname. Now get out there and kick some ass.
Hey, if that right wing pundit is right, then that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Remember from last week? The pundit you were telling me about, the guy that's like,
but I bet
China
you
will
if
be
you looked at the
bankrupt in
credits-
2
If
years.
you looked at the
Here's,
credits, I bet you that guy was one of the writers for Top Gun Maverick.
One of the writers. I've got my many fingers in many pies.
I got hate for talking about that guy from everyone. People that like Peter Zion hated it because
Why? Not-
because I was telling it to you guys, and then Jordan was like disagreeing. So they were angry at me that I wasn't good enough to convince Jordan. And then people who believe in Jordan were like, "Why are you bringing up these shields in the first place?"
Right.
So like no one.
You can't win. You
appreciated
can't win these days.
Well, that's the story of your life, isn't it, Alan?
But I'm glad you liked it. I think it's on
Dude,
consensus.
the movie was
did
so
you
fucking
get to
good,
a
though.
point? Did you get to a point with the action where you were gripping the fucking shoulder things, going? "Ah."
Yeah, two and I were grabbing each other's arms at points.
Yes, I was literally just like, fuck. Ah. Like it was,
Which was amazing. And
Which
that
is
was the
rare in
other
a
thing.
movie. You don't
Yeah.
get that in a fucking Marvel movie.
You know who was the other writer in that film?
Gimme.
Tony Robbins.
It wasn't.
Tony Robbins.
Yeah, but it was.
But it was just that classic, like,
Tony Robbins
these
was-
emotional peaks hitting at
Yeah.
exactly the right
Tony
time.
Robbins definitely saw it and had a tear and was like, the greatest movie I've seen since, I don't know.
Back to the Future.
Gremlins. Yeah. Back to the Future 2. Yeah.
But it was the best movie all of us have seen since Back to the Future 2.
It was really good.
It was
Like,
just
it was so.
I hate the new Hollywood. Why can't they just go back to that? Like, the
You know what it
people will
was? You know what it
vote.
was? It was
and it's
fun.
just like, look,
It was
all
fun.
three of us, right? All three of us are huge critics of the US military machine, right? But even
But
we were
not
rooting
today.
for it. That's a good film.
It was fun. it was fun.
Yeah.
I am
Maybe
able
so,
to
sir, but
separate it.
not today.
Not today. I'm able to separate it. When Hollywood makes a movie like that, obviously they're going to talk about it from their perspective. So I don't have that issue of like, I'm not one of those people that say, why aren't you neutral? Why are you saying, well, it's about the American Navy. So obviously they're going to talk about it from their point of view. So I have really no qualms with that aspect of it. Obviously, if like Russian movie was making, if Russia was making a movie or China was making a movie, they talk about it from their perspective, and I would still judge it based on how good the movie was. But my problem is like because of these like some certain narrative things, it's not a great, it's not a 10 on 10 film, but it's a 10 on 10 movie.
It is for Jordan, which I understand. But yeah, I agree with that. Like the story, the narrative arc
I think
could have been
the
written by a
story was
5-year-old.
way better than the original Top Gun. The original Top Gun didn't have a story.
Yeah, I think it was probably
But
better.
was it a perfect movie? Is the question?
Yes,
over
it
here.
was.
No,
Have
of
you
course.
seen? Give me this, Ali. What was the last movie that you enjoyed as much as that? And I was thinking about it, and it was On the Edge of Tomorrow, which was another Tom Cruise.
Dude,
film.
come on. The Witch was better, like as a film.
Don't think it was.
In terms of originality, I thought it was better.
Yeah,
you
in
know?
terms of originality, it was sure, but like in terms of giving you what you want in a movie, which is those highs and lows.
But see, it's hard to. The thing is, you want something from an action movie, you want something from a horror movie, you want something from like an art movie. You can't, it's hard to. It's its own universe. So you
All
have
right,
to
well,
The
what about this
perfect
then? It was
movie
the
is that
perfect
it's-
action film.
Yes,
agree.
Perfect action.
You know
movie.
what? I will agree with that. The latest one the only one I saw recently that was close was that movie Ambulance, which is Michael Bay goes back to his roots. It's Transformers without the CGI, and it was just. I can't even remember the act. Jake Gyllenhaal and some other guy, and it was just that. It was an 80s blockbuster, and it was all practical effects, and it was fucking sick.
Yep, death to CGI.
Yeah, no
Death to
CGI.
It's
No,
so
dude, they had
bad.
real helicopters in that movie doing like maneuvers under like those like LA bridges. It was amazing. So like I think a big part of it is CGI has killed movies. Killed it. All that Marvel shit.
The 300.
Man, I don't
spot.
like it. It's like taking DMT. You leave the cinema and you're like, I feel like discombobulated, and it's gone too far. I really don't like those movies, you know. And any movie with practical effects is just like 50 times more effective.
And also,
also
don't you think that this is a really successful point of a film? At the end, I was thinking, I wish that cat didn't blind me so I could join the Australian.
Good propaganda.
It was amazing because you were just like, God, could you imagine anything more adrenaline filled than the point of the Kenny Loggins song, which is I went to the danger zone.
Yeah.
You went to the danger zone
Yeah.
at supersonic speed.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a point in your life where any human being in history that would have that much hormones pumping through their body at that point?
No way.
It's just like it's an experience that you want to. I'm sure it's more of a high than meth. It would have to.
Yeah.
Be. The only way to do it more is to be on meth and listen to Kenny Loggins. I went to the danger zone while
would
flying
be
into
insane.
the danger zone.
And it would probably help.
It's
It would probably help.
You'd have a heart attack and die. That would be
Yeah.
actually more strain on your body than going through the
For
G-force.
sure.
Miss, you know, like only Tom Cruise and the Top Gun team could have achieved the amazing reality of those action scenes.
Incredible, dude.
Like
they were real. They were real.
Oh, but no one else could have done it because
It'll never be
the
done
first
again.
Top Gun when it came out, you know, it was like literally a propaganda film.
Yeah.
Like the
So is
U.S.
this one.
They both.
No, it is, but like now they didn't. So the U.S. had lost the Vietnam War, and the Navy was losing its prestige. So they scouted Hollywood to make a movie about it. Right? That's how Top Gun was initially formed. But because of that, they had amazing sort of access to the actual American Navy machinery. And because of that movie, this time around, and how successful it was, that they were like, yeah, let's do it again. So those F-18s were real F-18s. They weren't model F-18s. Those people that were flying the F-18s in those action scenes were actual Top Gun pilots.
So that's why Val Kilmer can't talk now.
No one else could have done that. Like, no one has that sort of access.
Nah, that's why it'll never happen again.
It'll never happen again.
Like, only,
That's what I'm sad about watching that film. It's just like this.
but it's never been
last
done.
hurrah.
But it's never been done before either. It's a first.
Yeah, but and it will never be done
It
again.
can't be. It can't be
And
because
that's something else that you have to add to that film. There
that's
was
true. There
so
is
many
that.
layers
Yeah,
to it.
there is that thing where you watch it and just like
You can't top this.
No,
you can't
you
top
literally
Top Gun
can't.
Maverick.
You can't top it. Like, it's insane. Like, I don't know how I don't know like what the legal ramifications were. How can you legally put actors in these situations of death, like super high risk situations?
well, they're not actually doing those.
I know, but it's
operations.
still-
they're just doing their regular maneuvers.
I know, but like, it's still super dangerous. Like, the pilot can have a stroke. There's a million things that can happen.
Yeah, but you know, if a Top Gun pilot has a stroke, then
Plenty more where that came from.
No, I'm saying the actors were
you know,
in.
like, what are you gonna do?
No, but the actors were in there with them.
point from the
If
script.
the plane goes down, they die. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, but
Yeah.
no, that risk is not
but
illegal.
as
It's not illegal.
Illegal is if you let Tom Cruise actually fly the F-18.
Okay.
Which, if it happened,
Which he
I would
did.
be very surprised. But,
But
I also.
But what
He
are the
probably
what,
did that
but
shit,
what,
you know?
but what would be the legal like what would the contract have been? Like, would have Miles Teller been like, all right, sign this. If you die, it could happen. You have to sign it. That would
Yeah,
have been.
of course they would do that. But they
Imagine
would
risking
also-
your life for Top Gun.
worth it.
Worth it.
There's
I know,
way
I know.
lamer deaths than that.
I agree, but it's also just like
and truly, what a patriot!
I
Like
commend-
that movie would sign up so many people
commend-
to the Air Force.
I
So
commend
he's
the
actually
actors.
done more for the cause than anyone else.
I commend
that
the
died
actors.
in war. Huh?
I commend the. That's a lot, but I
It's
commend
probably
the
true
actors.
though, right?
I commend
He's
the
more of a
actors.
hero.
I mean, I don't want to know.
He is to me.
If you heard them talk about Top Gun and
A
like,
little
Tom
bit.
Cruise was a maniac.
No, why?
So Tom Cruise was like, because obviously he's obsessed with the whole flying aircraft stuff. He put
Aviation.
them through like a 6-month training program.
That's right.
And Jimmy Kimmel was asking, what's his name, Miles?
Teller, yeah.
Yeah, Miles Teller. He was asking like, when you were up in, because you know it's not an easy thing to be in those planes.
No
like,
way, dude.
You know the scene.
You fell asleep in the plane
scene
we
where
went
they're,
on.
like, going 10
Yeah,
G's.
could you imagine me at 10 Gs?
You'd fucking die.
Dude, I'd fall asleep at 1 G.
do you know?
You'd just come down and be like, "Is it over, mommy?"
Do you know those actors were actually pulling 9 Gs?
That's insane.
So they had to go through like an intense training period. And Jimmy Kimmel was asking Miles, he was like, when you were up in the air, didn't you think that this is unnecessary? And he was basically, he didn't want to say it because Tom Cruise is, Tom Cruise, but he was basically saying like, yes, every fucking time we were thinking that.
Like, what am I
but
doing?
Tom Cruise is just, he's a maniac. So he's like, nah, you guys have to do it.
But on top of that, Miles, he gave you the best experience you've ever had.
He was into it. He was into it.
Sure.
But also, I also got into watching like some other stunts he's done. Tom Cruise, like, dude, he did a stunt in Mission Impossible where he jumps from a building to another building, and they put 2 wires on him, and insanely dangerous. And then when he landed on the building in the stunt, he broke his ankle.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And then got up and kept running on the ankle. But also,
that's why he's the last movie star.
Yeah, but also he could have easily died. There's 2 wires.
Yeah,
that's not.
It's a true miracle that he hasn't died.
It's
yet.
crazy,
No
dude.
one has,
It's crazy.
Even
no
in
one's
Mission
had a more
Impossible,
high risk life.
we
than
need
that
to
man.
stop.
Yeah.
We need to stop talking about this because we're literally losing viewership and people saying get on with it. But you should see his Mission Impossible 2
Viewers
where
going
he's
down.
like climbing up like a vertical cliff.
Yeah, that's
and
real.
He did that for real.
Fuck off.
And he was jumping like meters away.
He did that for real.
Okay, here's
I'm happy with losing all of these viewers. We're just going to rebrand to the Tom Cruise fan podcast.
Yeah. No. Just call it the aviation podcast. We'll just usurp their fans. Be like, okay, so F1. You prefer to an F2, Ali? I know your thoughts on this, Jordan. I'm curious what you think.
first of all, F2 is not a thing.
It was a trick question, okay? That's for everyone at home watching.
Okay,
keeping on your toes.
What do you guys think about this? So in Austria, not Australia, Austria,
Thank you,
Hey,
Bush.
that's a country I didn't know.
Burger King is celebrating Pride Month or Pride Week, Gay Pride Month or Gay Pride Week. But hold up. So they came out with a new Burger King, like Hungry Jack's. They came out with a new burger.
The gay burger.
Now, this burger has divided the population. So people that are pro-pride, LGBT community, a lot of them are saying that this is actually a joke. This is making fun of us. So they introduced a burger where
is it?
both the buns
Oh my god, let me
are
see.
the same. So it's not like a top down, it's like a top
Oh
top.
my god.
So if you get a burger bun, the
Political
seated
correctness
part
has
is on
gone
both.
Too far.
Dude.
And so like a lot of these a lot of LGBT community
Fuck.
are saying that this is a payout. This is not, you're not celebrating here, you're making fun of us. And Burger King continues to say, no, we're just celebrating diversity. What do you guys think? Is this a joke or is this legit?
I think all of this corporatism virtue, like, sort of like queer corporatism is clearly a cash grab. It's like, we love, like, insert social cause here. It's like, So you're not doing that for the PR and the money. No, not at all. Nothing to do with sales. You don't look at your check account once after you've created this product. No.
All right, Karl Marx, I know that. But the question is this a joke or is this legit? Like, they thought that this was something...
It's legit. Of course it's legit. It's them being like, how can we kowtow more to, whatever demographic, and that's what they're trying to do. Dude, in one way it's genius marketing, but it's genius marketing gone too far in terms of just like, what are you
Is
doing?
it genius marketing? Because this is the whole thing.
In their
Every
minds.
time you go woke, you know why you go broke? Because do you think that the gay and lesbian alliance of any country is ever going to be happy with anything? They're always going to take issue with it. And then everybody that doesn't like this woke stuff is just not going to buy it out of protest. So who's the market that?
Well,
they're actually
you know what's
appealing
really
to
interesting. There's a huge
Dude, I'd buy it if I was... That's fucking funny.
but dude,
I
they're
didn't,
not.
want to talk, I didn't want to talk about this topic because I was like, oh,
They're not
whatever.
doing it as a joke.
But then I saw that and I was like, that's hilarious.
But you know what? But you know what's really funny too? A lot of that like
all
community,
the colors of the rainbow in it as well.
dude. A lot of that community hate this shit because they're just like they just see it as a like superficial cash grab, so they hate it too. So everyone just hates it now. There's like a huge pushback. Like even with who was it, like Smirnoff or something? Like the gay community were just like, fuck you.
It's a real...
That's the thing. No one likes it. Everyone's just like, it's like
corporate
corporate.
execs like it. It's the same
Yeah,
reason
yeah.
that the project's still on air. It's because it reflects the views
Right.
of the Channel 10 board, and that's it.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
I think that's a real problem with the wokeness of universities. I do think that. I think that, like, in the US, right, I was talking to Neil about this. Universities have three forces pushing through them, right? It's either the Koch brothers, or it's corporate America, or it's the state. And in the state, as Chomsky points out, the way that the people that are appealing to getting like extra funding from the university, they just come up with these elaborate theories just with a bunch of jargon that no one understands. And so people think like, well, I don't understand it, so they must be talking about something intelligent. And they just keep approving their funding. The Koch brothers obviously are there just to get as many Supreme Court judges indoctrinated into their version of the law as possible so that they can go up. And corporate America, they have this ideology in their bones now. It's been there for so long that they actually do have, and I was thinking about this for a long time. I used to always think it's just a cash grab, but I do think that university graduates actually believe this stuff now because it's been pumped into their heads for so long. So corporate companies across the planet do have this as a belief in their head. And I think that it is so strong that they'll do it against financial interest.
You know, I
think that's what's happening.
I noticed something interesting. You're right. When both of us were doing undergrad, university sort of material was all extremely sort of lefty, all of this stuff. Like, it was common ground. There was no discussion on it. The students were discussing who can be more radical about it than the other. But now, so recently, I'm doing one of my last courses is immigration law. And so for immigration law, the introductory course was about just some freaking scholars from back in like 1940s and 50s talking about what immigration is, the sort of philosophical aspects of it. But there's this one scholar, Karen, who was basically arguing for an open border policy, right? Now that's a very typical university style thing, open border policy. And I was listening to it and I was like, yeah, here we go. Like, I get it. Like, this is what universities are about. But then like one of the kids was like, that's bullshit. Open borders is freaking stupid, which didn't happen in 2013, 2014 when we were at uni. But you know what? The more surprising thing was that the response of the lecturer was, yeah, you're right. This course needs to sort of evolve with time. And we should like really talk about diverse opinions on this. And I'm glad that you're bringing it up. It was a completely different strategy. I think even at universities, there is now a realization that this PC stuff has just gone a bit too much now. You would know because you actually do go to university. Yeah, but I'm also in the law faculty, which is slightly different.
Yeah. But also, like, I was walking through the UNSW campgrounds the other day, and it was just like the classic stairs. All of them have rainbows on them. They actually have advertising. It's actually the joke that you think when you listen to Ben Shapiro talking about how far a radical university should become. It's that everywhere. They're advertising safe spaces everywhere, all of these spaces for separate minorities where they can go. Like, that is heavily in the DNA of universities now. That was not there when we were there. And as you were saying, it was more just two kinds of schools of thoughts. Either like, this is how you get a job as a bureaucrat, and then there was just the bunch of people that signed up to the Socialist Society that just were permanent students, I think, just to argue with those people. And so that dynamic has definitely changed.
Do you know what I remember? And I don't know if I should admit this on the pod, but when I first started uni, this was like, I was at uni when undergrad. I did my undergrad between 2012 to 2015. So this was the era of terrorism, where like there were ISIS attacks or Al-Qaeda attacks happening everywhere. And for most of the Muslim population in the world that were living in first world countries, this was a horrible thing because, people would suspect you of all of that. You know the drill. However, at university fucking campuses, I realized this early on, that I was studying global politics. And as soon as I would go into the lectures, they would read my name and then they would be like, what do you think about this, Ali? And I was automatically, like, I had this weird celebrity status because I was a Muslim and they wanted to. And so I used to think, and I probably should say this, but I used to think, fuck, I love these terrorists. Like, I know this is bad.
So cool.
They make me so cool. And so this was
No,
the
you can admit it.
environment.
Fuck it. That's
Other than that, you just be the Mexican exchange.
Yeah, exactly, right? Otherwise, I am a nobody. But now everyone's like,
yeah, because in
what
the
do you
West it
think
goes the
about
other way.
this?
Because in the West it's like in the sort of like woke West, it's like
But that was where
you're
we-
vilified. You're important. I want to know your take.
Outside of university, everyone's spitting on me, but inside they're like pumping me up.
How
baby.
weird. It's just
No wonder
so
you lived
strange.
on campus. Jesus.
Tell you what I would say though, I would buy that. The bottom bun sucks. It's not a bad
I
call.
know.
Just
Yeah,
it's a
purely
good
from a
one, yeah.
taste. Like 2 top bottoms, like it's not bad. I'd buy it for the flavor.
You just change it from the Pride Burger to the top cross bun. And that'd be, yeah, you're right. It's the same thing of just getting rid of the base of the muffin and keeping the top.
The stock. Who wants the stocks? Yeah, exactly.
No, you're absolutely right on this one, miss. You should be a corporate exec. This is the whole
Hey,
problem.
I've been trying to tell everyone that. Any corporate execs want to pay me outlandishly for ideas, I'm here.
He's
to
got
talk.
'em.
Let's talk. Let's talk.
How about this? You remember that woman that was selling farts?
Not her
No,
again.
I just
Yeah,
read
is
that.
She
I-
did.
No,
There's an
but-
update on her. So you know,
Didn't she go to hospital for that?
yeah, she almost died, but she's
Not
back.
this story.
It's worse.
She's
It's
back.
Worse. It's worse.
She is now not selling her farts because that'll
Please.
almost kill her. She is now selling her boob sweat,
Ah!
and she sells. She says that if the sun is shining, she's like a solar panel. If the sun is shining, I can make about 10 bottles a day, and she sells it for $500 a bottle. So she's making like about $5,000 a day now.
Jesus.
I've got
Honestly,
to say, it's way less chat than her original business idea.
yeah, it's still chat. What is wrong with people? I swear
I
to
know,
God.
I don't know.
The internet was not a good idea.
Also, I'm thinking she's not actually using her boob sweat the entire time. She's just putting it everywhere.
just-
Pits.
yeah.
She's getting her boyfriend to put in some
yeah,
of his
it's just
sweat.
water. It's water.
Sweat.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
just water. She's putting in tap water. She's putting in tap
Yeah, but
water.
like now I'm thinking she might have skin cancer.
You can't catch skin cancer. What are you talking about? What do you
Yeah,
mean?
if
you
she's
spend-
walking around in the sun so she
She's spending,
sweats,
like-
jogging for 4 hours a day.
Her work is
She's
miss.
not- yeah, but
she
she's not
gets
doing
up in
that.
the morning, she wears a bikini and goes outside and sits in the sun.
Dude, I'll
every
tell you,
day.
this is what she's doing. She's walking over in her onesie to the tap, filling it up, and then putting some fucking, old coffee grounds in it. I mean, like, yay! That's what she's fucking doing.
She should just sell
Another
her
myth
piss.
busted.
Execs.
Piss is sustainable.
Why don't you sell your piss? Why hasn't anyone done that?
I already
That's
piss
a
in a. I
genius
already
move.
piss in a bottle. Maybe I should fucking.
Yeah, just like have more
You want
water.
to buy Miss Love's piss for $500?
I'm here.
The man's a machine.
I throw it out in the street. It's gone to waste. Seriously.
It's a Miss Love sales event. Start selling that at my shows, Miss.
I can't travel.
It's honestly a better move than CDs.
Yeah, it is.
Well, you drink a lot of beers at my show at my expense.
That's
so,
true. That's
yeah,
at your expense. They're not being drunk by anyone else. I'm helping you. Come on, relax.
That's also true as well.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah.
you're just drinking all the excess
I'm
stock,
doing-
and there is 100% excess
I'm doing my
stock.
part for the environment.
I don't know if that's how consumption works, but
I
look,
think it
at
does.
least you
I
could
think it's-
recycle it, okay?
Well, I
That's the very
can't
least.
recycle it. I get you the piss. Yeah. No, exactly. I should do that. But I can't exactly. I draw the line at traveling interstate with a bottle of piss. That's a bit much, surely.
Look, I don't know if you
I'll
know
piss
this, Miss
in the
Love,
state.
but
I'll
yes,
piss
you,
in-
like you're. I don't know. Like,
But I figured it out while I
what,
was
you
saying it.
hold it in every time we go on tour, do you? How did that take a while to figure out?
I don't know. It's a lot of fucked up shit up here.
Man, I'm starting to realize why most of your business ventures in life have failed.
Forest Hall shirts coming soon. Again.
We could also talk about the Boris Johnson winning his no confidence motion.
What's that mean? What's that
Or we
about?
could
No, I want to.
end the pod.
No, I want to hear that just quickly.
I thought a lot of people wanted to know why my face is so shiny.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
want to talk about that, that would be
Maybe
the
we should.
best
That's a
segment.
Patreon deal.
No,
No,
let's do
this
it.
is an advertising deal. Ready?
Okay.
If you want to look as good as me, if you want to look like the thing that is as sweaty as that thing that sells her sweat, there's only one place to go, ladies and gentlemen, and that is
Oh, you're doing a shout out.
Laser Aesthetics
Fuck.
in Fairfield.
Of course. It's
Wait, you got to tell us more about it. So, what's this procedure like?
It's the most painful experience I've ever had in my life. I have no sympathy for women who give birth anymore. But I do have sympathy for the numerous grandmas before me that go in and get their face burnt off with a laser. because it sucks.
So they literally just burn off your face.
They burn off your face, and I think the science behind it is much like a tree when you cut back its branches and it comes back with double the amount of leaves. That's what's happening to your face because your body freaks out and thinks that you're on fire, and so it starts producing a lot of skin cells, and so you look 5 to 10 years younger. Not at the moment, though. For a week afterwards, you're not allowed to leave the house. But hey, as we're saying, right, like that reduces your chances of getting skin cancer, and instead going into this, I'm assuming, very experimental technology and hoping that that just pans out for the best.
But you know what? It's not even that bad. Like when I walked in, it just looked like you had come back from Mexico or something and you got a tan.
Yeah, tan.
Well, this is 3 days into the transformation. But I do highly recommend this. This is my skincare routine from now on. It is getting my face burnt off every 3 months, and then, of course, it's rice masks in between.
Yeah.
I feel the difference. As Miss Love was saying, once you put a rice mask on, it honestly feels like your skin is thanking you.
It's nice.
So,
It's rice.
that is my advice to you. Be very nice to your skin and then abuse the fuck out of it.
Or
yin and yang.
you could do that. You could do that, or you could also just have your skin as it is, and people that love you will always love you.
Nah,
Yeah,
burn
that's
it
true.
off.
Look,
Burn it off.
if you're
we're
not
skin shaming.
vacuous and have any depth to your personality whatsoever, maybe you don't need it. I, however, chose a living where I'm in front of a camera all day, every day, so I will look exactly like Sandra
It's a
Sullivan.
choice. It's a choice.
Respect, man. Respect.
And actually, I have to say this: you're brave for actually saying it out loud.
Nah,
You know
it's
what is
alright.
amazing? Because the chick there, Vooch, she was just like, every man that come in here always say, oh, I'm trying to burn off my pocket marks. Because that's the other thing as well. It actually does burn off acne scars, burns off wrinkles, burns off everything, right? And deep pores, all that stuff. And so she just has this endless line of men coming and being like, I have acne scars that I need to get rid of. And she's like, they don't even have acne scars. You're the first man to come in here and say, I want to look pretty.
Holy shit.
Holy shit.
You're next. How much does it cost?
Too
$600.
Too much for me.
$600.
Yeah, too much for me.
Just sell
But
half
it depends.
of your pedal.
If your face is a product, I highly recommend it. But this is such a niche audience, isn't it? Like, who else out there is actually, in front of a camera a lot? That's pretty much it.
Well, Shooter.
That's for them. Shooter Williamson. Go burn your face off, right?
At me saying that you should be proud of who you are, D's Nuts says, Ali, some of us are white.
Yeah. He's saying
okay.
the whites age worse than the rest.
Oh, yeah. Right,
Which
right.
is
So
true.
it was a
It's true.
callback to a gag Ali made 3 minutes ago.
It's true.
Plus another
though.
delay.
It's
Huh?
true.
Yeah, no, it's
that
definitely true.
gag, that would be racist.
I'm telling you though,
We
like you
encourage
actually,
it.
the way that we got into it was because Tu has an actor friend, and she didn't have the best skin in the world, and now she does. She really does. She actually looks about 10 years younger, and I don't think that she has access to Beetlejuice. Right? So I think that she hasn't sold her soul to the devil for it.
While
Maybe
we're-
she did.
While
I
we're
don't
talking
know.
about that, shout out to a new trending movie on Stan called The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Yes.
What was it?
No,
Spy
I don't
Who Won't
think
Die.
that a movie that was made in the 90s is
The
trending.
Spy Who Won't Die or something.
The Spy Who...
The Spy Never Dies.
Spy,
The
Who
Spy Never Dies. It's on Netflix.
Starring Tong.
Starring...
Nunugan.
Who I am
Nunugan.
respecting
Yes.
at the moment.
I
Starring Anne
might
Nguyen.
watch, but good on her. Absolutely. Shout out. Go and watch that.
And you know what else? Just as a little preview to it, and this is what I'm very proud of, there's all these reviews, tons of them saying, man, all the actors in this suck, except the Asian.
Really?
Shout out Anna Nguyen.
Anna Nguyen.
Anna. That's amazing. That's incredible. I still
You
don't believe
can't
it.
hope for anything better. I mean, I suppose you could hope for everyone getting good reviews, but
It's pretty
Yeah.
good. I still can't
Personally,
believe it.
Standing
I
out.
do agree with that sentiment that everyone's saying about it to a certain degree. I do think that it was just like it's a bit hard to expect everyone to be putting on an American accent to try and sell for the American market. And again, Tu pulled it off really well. But also, man, I think there's a lot of potential in that director. I think he's really good at filming action, and especially on a micro budget. He did a really good job of making it look like it was high budget. His real forte is, gunfight scenes and things. He's great at it.
Sick. Have you watched it?
Yeah.
How many is it seasons? Like it's a show.
No, it's a movie.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it for sure.
Can we get
I don't have
Anna
Stan.
Nguyen
Oh no,
on
I
the
do have
pod
Stan.
as like to plug her movie? We'll pretend that we're like, I don't know, Opie and Anthony or something. It's like, so tell us about this new movie you've got going.
Yep.
Sick.
And she'll say exactly what we just said then. But whatever, like, I'm actually very, very proud of her acting abilities. And kids, let that be a lesson to you, right? That girl did no acting, worked in the corporate world until 26. 3 years later, she's in movies, and she's stunting it. She's doing really, really well at acting in them.
And also in like so many ads. I see her all the time. Like on YouTube when like those skip ads comes and I'm like, oh fuck, I hate these. Oh, wait, hold on. Is
That's
that
2.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Anna?
Yep.
Well, I don't say that, but
That's amazing.
Ads are definitely as impressive as movies.
Yeah. It's
amazing.
it's not, but like I'm just saying she's freaking everywhere.
And she's done it
She's
quick.
everywhere.
She's done it quick, which is
she's done
crazy.
it
Like
really quickly
it's really
too.
impressive. It's
So if you're a director looking for someone to cast, you're not though, are you?
Baz, are you on? Oh, Baz is on.
Yeah, Baz is on there.
Oh, I have been looking for someone for Elvis 2. Elvis Strikes Back, Return Zombie Elvis.
Yeah, no, this time it's a biography about Elvis Costello, and I predict it will sell just as well.
Father of Peter Costello.
Elvis Costello. Imagine his biopic. I was born in London. Picked up the guitar. That's about it.
Yeah. Were you good at it? Not really. Why are you famous? I think it's because my name's Elvis. Hey.
Yeah. Got that one song that goes, pump it up. No, you can't feel it. Pump it up. No, you can't feel it. Dare, 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 dare,
See, this is the real
dare,
injustice
dare,
of being a musician. You either don't make it, or you do make it for a song that's very subpar, and you get to live off royalties for the rest of your life. So it's just unfair it's either unfair on the musician or it's unfair on the public.
It's so true.
All right, well, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. We hope you
And we've also
enjoyed your
just got
show.
a guest star to just come in at the end for a sign-off. Just put it over to me.
Say it.
Be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East.
Me
Au revoir, Turu. Bye.
Baby, don't say